Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. Enjoy personalized comfort for better sleep night after night. It's the final days of our Black Friday sale. Recharge this season with a bundle of cozy, soothing comfort. Now only $17.99 for our C2 mattress and base, plus free premium delivery. Prices higher in Alaska and Hawaii. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
Everyone wants to be stronger, not just physically, but in every part of life. But between confusing workout advice, complicated equipment, and trying to figure out nutrition, where does anyone even start? Well, to get stronger mentally and physically, go to Anytime Fitness. You'll get a personalized training, nutrition, and recovery plan, all customized to your body, your strength level, and your goals. You'll get expert coaching to optimize your results, anytime, anywhere, in the gym, and on the Anytime Fitness app. And you'll get anytime access to 5,500 gyms worldwide, all with the right equipment to level up your strength gains and your life. So get started at AnytimeFitness.com. That's AnytimeFitness.com.
AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
That's right. Woo!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tumpley. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Oh, by the way, I guess it's a hump day. Hit it. Let's go. Not really a hump day, though. I guess by definition, it being a Wednesday, it's a hump day?
It's hump day.
Yes. Yes, by definition, yes.
However,
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
In practice,
Hump day.
not really.
It's hump day.
Hump day signifies getting over the proverbial hump of the week to the backside of the week, toward the weekend.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Ain't nobody working tomorrow.
Hump day.
Unless if you are.
It's hump day.
And if you are, I wish you first a happy Thanksgiving.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Whit Weeks.
Hump day.
Coming clean.
It's hump day.
About time.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Talk about it in a minute.
Hump day.
Lane Kiffin.
It's hump day.
Just the Baton Rouge media who thinks he's going to LSU, right?
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
No.
Hump day.
No.
It's hump day.
Everybody does.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Except for like 4 people that cover Florida.
Hump day.
Jermon Bushrod next hour.
It's hump day.
Trey Morgan next hour.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Not to be confused with Tracy Morgan.
Hump day.
Tracy Morgan is a comedic actor.
It's hump day.
Trey Morgan played baseball at LSU.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
We're talking to the baseball player.
Hump day.
Not the comedic actor.
It's hump day.
Russ Mitchell, hour 3.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
All right, we got a lot to do. Glad you're hanging out with us here. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Go Hop in the Wayback Machine with me. Let's go back to the Friday before LSU played Vanderbilt. Doing one of the most chaotic remotes in the history of the show. Was at Garth Brooks's bar, Friends in Low Places. A country band, full throat behind us. About 2,000 people there. Not solely for the show, but a big part of it was for the show. A great environment. Loved being there. And as we were looking at the LSU availability report, Whit Weeks was questionable. And in the first 30 seconds of that show, I told you he ain't playing. Because what I found out there when we were in Nashville was that Whit Weeks had a fracture. And I told you that he was going to be out a while, and I think the optimistic or the hopeful point of view is that you'd have him back for Alabama. On Tuesday night, Whit Weeks, his first media availability since the injury, disclosed finally what his injury was.
Well, I broke my ankle again, which that's not fun, so it just hurts. And I mean, like, I can't really, like, play football on it because I could hardly even walk for 6 weeks. So that was the issue.
So we'll go a little deeper into all of this with Weeks. You might say, Matt, if you heard it was a fracture, why didn't you say it? It's a good question. It's a fair question. Because I could never get it confirmed exactly what the injury was. I knew he had a fracture, but I didn't know if it was his foot, if it was his ankle, if it was his shin. I didn't know if it was a hairline fracture, how severe it was, if he had surgery, any of those particulars. And for the last 5-6 weeks, there's probably a lot of people at LSU that are sick of hearing me ask about it. But I could never get a coach, a medical staff member, a sports information person, comms person with the athletic department. I couldn't get anybody to confirm it. I don't know why. I don't know why they wouldn't disclose the injury, and there's HIPAA, and they could do whatever they want. But the point being, there have been a number of people, and I've seen it out there, who have suggested over the last month or so that Whit Weeks quit. He opted out. That Lane Kiffin had ruined him as a football player. I've seen all the, what's the guy who cut his hair? Not Hercules, the guy who cut his hair. Samson and Delilah. That was like Samson, they're cutting his hair. Like, no. Play 5, please, if you would.
So we went Ole Miss and then off week. Yeah. Didn't do anything the off week. And then the week of South Carolina, like, I was like, holy cow. Like, I hardly even practiced before that game just because I could hardly even walk on it. But then just kind of sucked it up for that game. But then I remember on Sunday I was, like, taking a shower, and I was like, I can't even stand in the shower. Like, I probably need to go get this checked out. Sure enough, got an MRI on it, and sure enough, it was broken.
So same ankle as the bowl game injury, but a different injury. And God bless you. You might remember the play at the end of the Ole Miss game where he was making a tackle and a player fell on the back of his foot, and that's where the injury happened. And they had the open date after Ole Miss, so he had a chance to sort of like let it rest. Didn't do much South Carolina week, as you heard him say. Played against South Carolina. Played well against South Carolina, actually. The game with Lenore Sellers. But after that is when they got the testing done, realized he had a fracture, and he hasn't played since. So I guess the cautionary tale is don't jump to conclusions, y'all. Sometimes if something don't look right, chances are it ain't right. In any event, I love what Whit Weeks brings to this team. The other really good news, he said he did not need surgery on it and won't need surgery. He said that it was like a clean break right down the middle, and so he won't need surgery. Just when it's healed, it's healed. He was also asked about playing this weekend against Oklahoma's number 7, about what he might do this week.
I mean, I think so. I was able to play 14 snaps last week, hopefully get 30 this weekend. As long as I can move, I'm going to go out there and play.
I think that's so critical for LSU this week, to get what you can from Whit Weeks against Oklahoma. It's interesting when you look at Oklahoma because they are a team that is so very similar to LSU. And it's odd. It's really odd because LSU is sitting here at 7-4. Oklahoma is 9-2. But Both teams lost games to Ole Miss. Their other loss was a non-conference against Texas, but they've managed to win some of it. They won a close game at Alabama, 23-21. LSU, remember, held Alabama to 20 points, but struggled to get the offense going. But this is an Ole Miss team, this is an Oklahoma team that statistically looks so much like LSU. They're 75th in passing offense. Oklahoma is 99th in the country in rushing offense. They're 72nd in scoring at 27 points per game. Sound familiar? It's a lot like LSU. The big difference is they are 6th in the country in scoring defense. They've been awesome defensively. LSU, 67th in passing, 123rd in rushing, 105th in scoring. I mean, these are two teams that have really struggled offensively. Their defense has carried them by and large. But Oklahoma's found a way to scratch out a couple more wins than did LSU. So they lost the rivalry game against Texas when John Mateer maybe came back a little too soon. And they lost that game against Ole Miss. LSU just has a couple more L's. You went on the road and couldn't get it done against Vanderbilt, a game you probably should have won. You fell short in that game on the road at Ole Miss, where you struggled to get off the field and finish drives. Games where you had opportunities to win. That's the difference in the margin. But this is a game where it's going to be a defensive game. You have two really good defenses and two offenses that really struggle a lot. And so, and it's supposed to be wet. The conditions are not supposed to be great. So if you tell me that I'm going to get 30 snaps out of Whit Weeks, who not only is an emotional leader, his high football IQ, guys where they're supposed to be on the field all the time, and just his playmaking ability defensively, I get 30 snaps in a game where you're probably, I'm not going to say it's going to be a running clock, but I think you're going to see both these teams in that environment probably go into a little bit of a shell because they're going to be fearful of making the big mistake to cost them the game. Yeah, man, you give me 30 snaps out of Whit Weeks, that might be half of your defensive snaps. I'd love to see it. So Whit Weeks battling to get back out there. He also said that he plans to get healthy and that the plan is to go play in the bowl game. Has said he's not yet thought about his future after this year, if he's going to go pro or make that decision. So he'll make that at some point, but be great to see Whit Weeks getting out there, running around, making plays for this LSU defense. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light. Got relatives in town, going to be sitting around the Thanksgiving table tomorrow. If you're not into red wine or whatever it may be, make sure you got plenty of delicious ice-cold Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers. Make sure you pick up the LSU cans, the officially licensed LSU cans, and the 16-ounce aluminum bottles. They got the Saints cans as well, black cans with the gold fleur-de-lis. They are the official beer of the New Orleans Saints as well. It's Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. Speaking of, we will have Taylor Calandro in about 30 minutes from right now. If you need questions, recommendations for your Thanksgiving table, what to pour in your glass, cocktails to make, any of that good stuff, wine recs, get your questions in for Taylor. Email us, tweet us, text us. We'll get to Taylor here in about 30 minutes from right now. When we come back, there has been this notion that it's just the Baton Rouge media that thinks Lane Kiffin's coming to LSU. Not exactly. I'll tell you what I mean next on AFR.
After Further Review.
Earlier today, big shout out to Harley from River City's 1 Hour Air. Came over to the house. We had an appointment scheduled, 9 o'clock. Actually, we got a call at 7:30 in the morning asking if we were still good. Shout out to Harley Bertrand, who came by the Scone household today, got our preseason heater safety check done, and also, because we've been jockeying back and forth, heater and AC, the AC in our bedroom, the panel, Erica started pushing buttons on it, and she'll acknowledge this. I'm not pointing the finger, but it was her. She just started pushing buttons on it. She screwed some setting up, and so the humidity was like 85% in our bedroom. It was crazy. So Harley came in, redid all the settings, got it working, ship shape, awesome. Totally polite, was great with Drew as well. I'm telling you, man, they're the best. Big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Our friends over at Goodwood are going to have their best prices of the year for Black Friday. So check them out, yourgoodwood.com. HRT. You've heard me talk about peptides and a lot of the other things that they offer to help you feel like your younger self. Great opportunity to learn more. Yourgoodwood.com. Yourgoodwood.com. If you partake in the interwebs, as many of us do, there has been a healthy back and forth among the Ole Miss, LSU, and Florida fan bases about where Lane Kiffin's going to be. And I think by and large, Ole Miss fans have they've emotionally accepted what appears to be their reality, that Lane Kiffin will be leaving. They certainly are ticked about how all this has transpired, and I think now have gotten to a point where it's like, hey, just make a decision and get out of here and stop ruining our great season. The LSU and Florida fan bases continue to go back and forth about which is the better job and why Lane Kiffin's going to pick it. And you can have that debate all you want. I mean, both are great jobs, and I think there's merit to both and why you might choose either. I think you all know where I stand and have stood on this until moved off this point, that I believe Lane Kiffin is coming to Baton Rouge. I think this all shifted in the middle part of last week and then became very apparent at the end of last week that Lane Kiffin had chosen LSU. And at the beginning of this week, Florida, as we talked about here, has begun in earnest moving on to other candidates, as it appears very obvious. There are several folks around Gainesville that don't want to acknowledge that. And I know some of the perception has been that it's just the Baton Rouge media that's pumping the Kiffin to LSU noise. Well, I'm glad I ran across this earlier today. So Brett McMurphy, who I think most would deem to be a credible college football reporter, he's been around at a lot of different places, ESPN. He left ESPN, went to the Action Network, and now he's with On3. Well, Brett McMurphy asked 80 college football media members where they think Lane Kiffin will be coaching next year. 59 said LSU, 17 Ole Miss, 5 Florida, 2 the Tennessee Titans, 1 said Alabama, and Scott Van Pelt said no clue. And I think what's super relevant about this is as you scroll through this list, you realize a few things. For example, there were 5 media members that said Florida. Matt Berry of ESPN was 1. Mike Bianchi of the Orlando Sentinel covers Florida. Chris Doering of the SEC Network played at Florida. Keith Niebuhr, Gators Online, on 3, covers Florida. And then Matt Humans from VEASAN. I don't know what Matt's. I got somebody talk to Jimmy about his guy. Anyway, the point being, Florida people, I think he's going to Florida. You do have a healthy number that, and if nothing else, I think what that suggests is what we talked about here yesterday. Florida has conceded. They're out of the run. They realize Lane Kiffin is leaning and has chosen LSU. I know you're probably tired of hearing me say it, but it's never done until it is, right? Until the ink is dry on a binding contract and the coach is standing at a podium, it's never done. I've given you plenty of examples over these weeks about how these things change. Heck, things have changed in this. I would have told you 2 weeks ago. Lane Kiffin was going to Florida because it sure was trending that way. And then LSU became earnest in their pursuit of him. Layla Kiffin visited Baton Rouge 2 Mondays ago. And that whole week, everything started to turn toward LSU. And at the end of last week, it was very clear that Lane Kiffin had picked LSU. And I think this reflects that. Now, there is one potential thing that could throw a monkey wrench in here that we'll talk about in a second, but keep in mind, like, these are, think about like the national reporters. Bill Bender of the Sporting News, LSU. Chris Childer, Sirius XM, LSU. Cole Kublik, LSU. Ross Dellinger of Yahoo, LSU. I'm just going to the national ones. Dennis Dodd, LSU. Bud Elliott, LSU. The Bear, Chris Felica, LSU. Bruce Feldman, Paul Feinbaum, by the way. Didn't Feinbaum a couple of weeks ago? Wasn't he the one earlier saying Kiffin's going to Florida? He's now flipped to LSU. Brian Fisher of SI. Pete Futak, College Football News. Pat Forty of SI. LSU. David Hale, Matt Hayes, Kirk Herbstreit, Desmond Howard, Gus Johnson, LSU, Joel Klatt. I mean, Tom Luganbill, Stuart Mandel, Greg McElroy, Pete Nakos, Rick Neuheisel, Kevin DeGandhi, Dari Noka, J.D. Piquel, Chip Patterson. I'm just going for the national ones. Brady Quinn, Adam Rittenberg, Ralph Russo of The Athletic. These are all LSU. Andy Staples, LSU, by the way, played at Florida. Phil Steele, LSU. Paul Stone, LSU. Jenny Taft, Clay Travis, all LSU. Andre Ware. They got Andre Ware's opinion on this as well. Heisman, okay. Ari Wasserman, Dan Wetzel, Adam Zucker, all LSU. Like, can everybody in the national media who has contacts, could they all be wrong? I'm telling you, the one thing that could flip this, all of this should illustrate to you the thing that I've said. Again, this is no longer just Baton Rouge Matt, who covers LSU, telling you Lane Kiffin is a heavy lean to LSU and is like, there's of the 80 people Brett McMurphy asked, 59 of the 80 said LSU. 5 said Florida. 2 dorks said the Tennessee Titans. Somebody said Alabama. Who said Alabama? Let's see. Tom Fornelli said the Titans. Stephen Godfrey of Phantom Island said Alabama. That feels like whoever the guy is every year at SEC Media Days that picks Vanderbilt to win the SEC. He's done it every year. It's like, let me just throw in a vote that doesn't actually count. It counts, but no one's actually going to pay attention. Let me make a mockery of the process. All that to say, the 17 people that think he goes back to Ole Miss, they're right. That's the one thing. I'm not saying it's going to happen. That's the one thing that could happen. And boy, it would be a really awkward situation if that did happen. But the scenario we played out for you a day ago is the one thing that I think that could throw the whole monkey wrench into this. Ole Miss is going to play Mississippi State on Friday morning at 11 a.m. That game, let's say Ole Miss wins that game. They're favored. Let's say they win it. They all but lock up a berth in the college football playoff. At that point, Ole Miss is going to want Lane Kiffin to leave, if he's leaving, which we all suspect he is. He's had a contract extension on the table. He hadn't signed it. He's leaving. He intends to leave, but he wants to coach his team. The thing we've told you now for 2 weeks. Remember 2 weeks ago when a lot of y'all crapped on me when I said they ain't going to let him coach? Oh, yeah, you should let him coach. Hey, that's their best team in forever. I told you they weren't going to let him coach. I wasn't guessing. Anyway, so they want him to leave, but he wants to coach his team. So this is the most fascinating part of this to me, because I'll tell you, of all the things that all of the deep dive into this story from all angles that I've done, one thing that I have not been able to get answered is what Ole Miss does to get Lane Kiffin out, because he don't want to leave because he wants to coach his team. They are not going to let him coach in the playoff. Well, they're not going to fire him, because if they fire him, they'd owe him $36 million. He does not have mitigation in his contract. So you say, well, let him go, because then his buyout's offset by his new contract. No. He does not have a mitigation clause in his contract. So if they fired him, they would owe him $36 million. They're not going to fire him. They want him to just leave. Well, he don't want to leave. So now they're at a standstill. So what do? Suspend him, take leave, whatever? Or does LSU just announce they've hired Lane Kiffin? That's going to be the very interesting thing in how that transpires Saturday. As, remember, Keith Carter, the athletic director, released that statement on Friday and said Coach Kiffin would have an announcement about his future on Saturday. Okay, what's that announcement? Is that LSU announcing they've hired him? I don't suspect it's going to be Lane Kiffin saying he doesn't want to coach his team. I think he wants them to force him out for the optics of it. But that's the one thing that if they can't get that thing going the right way, that could ultimately lead him to stay at Ole Miss to coach this team and ultimately stay there and sign an extension. And my goodness, would that be awkward at the Thanksgiving table or the Christmas table in 4 weeks? Because Thanksgiving would have already happened. But overwhelmingly, it ain't just a Baton Rouge media thing. It's an everybody thing. They all think Lane Kiffin's coming to Baton Rouge. You just got to get it across the finish line. Could be an interesting next 48 hours, to say the very least. By the way, if you want Lane Kiffin to be the LSU coach, what you should hope for is that Mississippi State beats the ever-living hell out of them. If Mississippi State beats Ole Miss, that would put their playoff hopes on life support, and everyone over there would be so livid with Lane Kiffin for the distraction that they'd probably just run him out. I don't even think they'd let him fly back to Oxford with the team. He would probably just go from Starkville straight to Baton Rouge. So there, you have your marching orders, LSU fans. If you want Lane Kiffin to be the coach, hope like hell that Mississippi State beats Ole Miss in the Egg Bowl on a Friday morning. All right, we're brought to you by First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com, FirstSouthLand.com. Thinking of buying land? Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. You know, one of the other things that they do really well over at First South Farm Credit, with all of the massive amounts of loan volume that they do, they will also reprice your loan. It's effectively a refinance with a lower rate. So as if interest rates go down, they will take it upon themselves to see if a refinance rate would save you money, and they'll call you and say, hey, I could save you money doing this. Like, they take the initiative to do all of that. A lot of times people, Ben and Tim and the guys over there have told me those stories of people, when they tell them that at closing, say, hey, look, if rates change, whatever, we'll call you. And, oh, yeah, sure, I'm sure you'll call me and tell me that you'll refinance and save me money. And then when they do, they're like, oh, you actually did that. Yes, they do. So they're great to work with. I mean, they've been around since 1916, more than 100 years. It's First South Farm Credit. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Go to FirstSouthLand.com, FirstSouthLand.com for First South Farm Credit. All right, y'all, glad you're hanging out with us here on this Hump Day edition of AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. We're going to knock out a break, go around the SEC. Taylor Calandro in 15 minutes from right now. Always appreciate Taylor when he's with us. So get your booze questions in. You know the drill. Email us, tweet us, or text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Jermon Bushrod, 45 minutes. Trey Morgan in 1 hour from right now. Russ Mitchell in hour 3. We got a ton to do, and glad you're hanging out with us as we send you into your Thanksgiving holiday. It's AFR.
AFR.
And as we head into the Thanksgiving holiday, maybe with a little bit of downtime, it's a good time to assess what's going on in your business. And you really need to give my friends at Glow Resources a call. If you are tired of hiring people that are unreliable, maybe people are slow to work. They take hours to do jobs that should take 30 minutes. They will find people for you that show up on time, that work hard. I mean, sometimes it just comes down to asking the right questions in the interview process. Like, for example, if you have employees that aren't showing up, cars broken down, maybe they have they're expecting a child, maybe they got an upcoming court date, whatever the case may be. Well, Glow throughout the process will do all the front end screening. Do you have reliable transportation? Do you have any upcoming appointments? Do you meet the physical requirements and capabilities? Do you have the skills required to do the skilled capabilities of this job? It's how you find the right people. Glow Resources is the best. Check them out at glowresources.com.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
A coaching carousel is turning. I hesitate to do this. So Alex Golish, who's the head coach at South Florida, he's one of the G6 names that a lot of people have mentioned. There was a report today from a radio guy up in Arkansas. His name's Trey Schapp, that Alex Golish has accepted the head coaching job at Arkansas. Literally nobody else has reported that. It doesn't mean he's wrong, but there's been nothing official from Arkansas, nothing official from South Florida, and none of the national reporters who you would anticipate would have that have reported it, which really gives you pause. Now, Rob Higgins, who's the AD, or I guess he calls him, he's like the CEO of Bulls Athletics, whatever. He's the AD. He tweeted a statement that since Saturday's game, Alex Golish has been presented with outside opportunities that he's been transparent about with us. He writes, "We were respectful and supportive of the coach and his family and their decision-making process, remain in constant communication, blah, 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 blah." Anyway, so that would indicate that Alex Golish has been offered a job but has not accepted. The report, again, from Trey Schapp was that Golish has accepted the Arkansas job, and that does not appear to have happened right now. It's a really good lesson, and you'd rather be right than first. But that does kind of... Listen, here, I'll just give you my read, and this is an opinion. I don't know what Arkansas is doing. I think all the scuttle that everyone's heard up until this point is that Arkansas was planning to hire Ryan Silverfield from Memphis. But I don't know. I don't know what Arkansas is doing. I've never spoken to Alex Golish. I have no contacts in Tampa. So I don't know. I'm just going to give you my read based on what I think's happening in this cycle. I think Arkansas is looking, going, hey, we're probably not one of the top handful of jobs open right now. When you look at LSU, Florida, Penn State, Ole Miss could very well be coming open if Lane Kiffin leaves, right? So you're Arkansas and you go, hey, we're not as good as those jobs. It probably would benefit us to be super proactive to get a guy now before that pool thins out. For example, I think what Oklahoma State did in getting Eric Morris from North Texas was really smart. Because let's say hypothetically, and again, playing out a hypothetical, let's say hypothetically Kiffin picks LSU. Well, Florida was all in on Lane Kiffin. And Florida, let's say, is not interested in Drinkwitz, or Drinkwitz signs his extension with Missouri, whatever. Well, now where does Florida go next? I mean, maybe they start looking at the Eric Morris, Alex Golish pool of candidates. If John Sumrall goes to Ole Miss, which seems to be the answer. If Kiffin leaves, all the word I've heard from everybody associated with Ole Miss is that if Lane Kiffin leaves, that John Sumrall would be at the top of their list. Remember, Sumrall was an assistant there back in 2018. Sounds like that would be his preferred landing spot if Ole Miss comes open, but does he wait? There's a lot of complicating factors. Anyway, all that to say, I think Arkansas is trying to be super proactive to get someone now so as not to wait for all the other big jobs to fill, because of LSU and Florida, one or both of those schools isn't going to get Lane Kiffin. Like, what if Kiffin stays and then neither LSU or Florida get it? Well, now both are moving down their list. And so the further down your list you move, you're taking candidates potentially that Arkansas would be interested in. So it's very smart of Oklahoma State to get very early and proactive on Eric Morris to get him now and not wait. I think Arkansas is trying to do the same thing here with Alex Golish, but it feels like Golish might be waiting. Because what if Kiffin picks LSU, Florida remains open? What if Florida says, we're not interested in Eli Drinkwitz, we want Sumrall, but let's say Sumrall picks Ole Miss, pivot to Alex Golish. That could be the dominoes. Now, I don't know that, by the way. I'm being very clear. I'm not predicting that to happen. I don't know. I'm just playing out the dominoes and how some of these things can be thought. So I think that's why Arkansas is being really proactive, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did offer him the job. I don't know if this report is true, but this report from Trey Schapp is saying that he's accepted. And that kind of feels like maybe Golish is sitting there willing to wait to say, I could take Arkansas, but what if Florida is interested in me. I'd rather Florida than Arkansas. So what if I wait 4 more days and maybe I have an opportunity to be in Gainesville instead of Fayetteville? Anyway, we'll continue to watch it. So Godspeed, Trey Schapp. This could be really bad for you in the next few days. Or maybe you nailed it. We'll see. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com. Y'all, we're a month away, less than a month away from Christmas. Within the next month, a lot of you gents are going to be getting down on bended knee, popping the question like Muse. Go to Lee Michaels. Get that beautiful diamond engagement ring. Helping Louisiana get engaged for 40 years. 10 locations. Thing I love telling you about Lee Michaels, you always get the Lee Michaels experience. They're never going to be pushy. They're going to make you feel like it's a really special occasion when you're walking in, because it is. Take your time. Try on 1,000 pieces of jewelry if you want. They're never going to pressure you to buy. They're not going to try to upsell you. They want you to find what's perfect for you within your budget that you're going to be happy with. She's going to be thrilled. You're going to be the hero. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Okay, Taylor Calandro will be here in just a smidge for Bourbon Dictionary. Right now, let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Florida Gators.
Richard Johnson over at CBS Sports reported Florida has kick-started, his word, but has since halted a search for a new football general manager amid its head coaching search, acknowledging the possibility that they're waiting on Lane Kiffin's decision. Should he align with the Gators? He might have an idea of who he wants to bring with him. Billy Glasscock is the Ole Miss general manager, and it's my understanding that wherever Lane Kiffin goes, he would want to bring Billy Glasscock with him, so that would be Baton Rouge, Gainesville, or potentially staying in Oxford.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
JUCO cornerback Braxton Urquhart has committed to Kentucky, 6'3", 193. He is out of Butler Community College and picked Kentucky over a bunch of juggernauts: North Alabama, East Tennessee State, UTEP, Colorado State, and more.
The Texas Longhorns.
3-star linebacker Rocky Cummings has flipped from Cal to Texas. He's out of Carlsbad, California, but is heading out to Austin, old 40 acres over there. Let's see, 6'4", 220. That's a big old linebacker. 6'4", 220, the number 37 linebacker in the country.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
And OU has flipped 2026 safety Markel Ford from SMU. He's also a former Texas A&M commit. 6', 190, the number 814 prospect overall, the 78th best safety in the country. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. Hump Day shows are brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. Did I miss it? Try to get a little kiss off the glass. Missed it. Hey, hormone replacement therapy, other non-pharmaceutical options. Love telling you about the way it's changed my life. Can do the same for you, gents. If you're already on HRT, it's worth switching. Lowest prices, never any contracts, and if not for nothing else, every 6 months when you do your blood labs, they pick up the expense of your blood labs. You don't have to come out of pocket for that, like at a lot of places. Yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. All right, Taylor Calandro, Bourbon Dictionary next. Stay here.
AFR.
We're brought to you by the Watermark and the Renaissance. Watermark Downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Of course, Watermark is Baton Rouge's premier hotel property. The holidays are upon us. Maybe in the next month you're going to have family members coming to stay. Listen, you don't want the in-laws squabbling at your front door. You don't want Uncle Lewis burning down your tree. Come on. You don't want Art, your father-in-law, having to lock you in the attic because he's got to get out of here to take his back pill. Put him up at Watermark Baton Rouge. It'd be better for everybody. Be better for them, too. My goodness, Watermark is gorgeous. It's Baton Rouge's premier hotel property. You walk in, it is the picture of luxury. All the beautiful marble, the original high-rise building in downtown Baton Rouge, the old Louisiana National Bank building. They maintain so much of the historical integrity of that building while adding modern amenities. It is awesome. Make sure you visit this holiday. Watermark, Baton Rouge.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com. They're the gang with the slang.
Keep it 100. I don't know what you're talking about.
This is Bourbon Dictionary with Matt Moscona and Taylor Calandro.
I don't understand.
All right, Thanksgiving is mañana. If you need your adult beverages, Taylor's got some suggestions for you. How are you, dude?
I'm good, Matt. How are you?
Doing really good, man. Excited about tomorrow. Sipping a few old fashions with the fam. Maybe a little red wine with Thanksgiving lunch. A little football. Yeah, man. Going to be a good day. Good day. What are your plans?
A little Thanksgiving lunch, a little football, nap, obviously, somewhere in there, if the kids allow. But yeah, staying local, taking it easy-ish. It's fairly relaxed.
Yeah, man. I would imagine pretty good time of year if people start busting out the brown water. Maybe we'll have a little bit of a cooler day. I haven't looked at the weather for tomorrow, but what's new over there?
So every year on Black Friday, Goose Island does Bourbon County, which is barrel-aged stout. So this year we got the regular barrel-aged stout, which is just like their barrel-aged stout. It's one of the originals in the country. And then we got the Cherry Jubilee variant, which is a stout with cherry and a few other things. I haven't tried any of these. We just got them. A praline, which is a stout with pecan and a few other things like praline. And then there's two reserve releases that we got. The Heaven Hill double barrel.
Okay.
And we got a stout that was finished in 10-year Parker's Heritage rye barrel, which I'm really excited about. I've had other rye barrel-aged stouts, and they tend to be a little different than bourbon barrel-aged. Like, you get a lot of the spice characteristic out of it. I almost feel like some of the rye barrel-aged beer that I've had has a similarity like Coca-Cola in a good way. It's got a really kind of spicy quality that I like. It's not super flat. Sometimes I feel like barrel-aged stouts can be a little too much and flat. I find a little crispness and spiciness in those. They're pricey, but they're hard to get too. So we'll be releasing those on Friday.
Okay. All right, let's get some questions. You want to ask Taylor a question? Cocktails, what to sip on, wine, whatever for Thanksgiving. Here's your shot. Email us, tweet us, or text 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Jonathan said, hey, Taylor, what's the best beer to go with dark meat turkey?
Dark meat? Man, it's probably going to get heat for this, but I like drinking like a good amber with turkey, like an Abita amber or something like that. Or like a Parish South Coast, if you can find one of those. Something like that. Even like a Marzen-style German type thing. I like that with turkey.
Ooh, I do like the idea of a Marzen. That's a good idea. All right, let's see. Ask Taylor, best bourbon to drink while watching Thanksgiving football. It's from Nick.
Best bourbon to drink. Well, we just got some new releases from Foursquare, and I tried one of them. It's the Pierre Ferrand finished bourbon, and it is fantastic. I would suggest something like that, something a little higher dollar that you can just sip on.
Greg Lehman asked Taylor, when Kiffin stiffs us, what's your recommended bourbon to sip on and drown our collective sorrows?
We're just going to drink hot toddies when he comes here. That's all we're going to do.
You know, if Lane Kiffin doesn't end up the LSU coach, I just hope it. I think they've settled on Eli Drinkwitz as their backup plan, but I would love John Summerall. I almost rather Summerall over Kiffin, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Drink's not going to Florida?
I think they're in the same situation that LSU is, in that nobody really wants Drinkwitz. Not denying that he's a good coach, but it's the perception and also the dollar amount, man. He makes $9 million at Missouri. Are you really going to pay that man $10, $11 million a year? That's the hurdle that I think a lot of people are trying to get over.
Yeah, I don't I've got an opinion. I don't really want to share it on the radio, though.
That's all right. Wayne said, ask Taylor, I mix my bourbon. Any other ideas to use besides Coke?
Wait, what did he say?
He says he mixes it. So he does like bourbon and Coke. What should he do?
I said he mixed it.
Mix. What should he do aside? No, M-I-X. M. What should he do aside from Coke?
Anything but Coke. What? I'm not a big mixer, so
yeah.
If I do mix, it's usually in the summer, and it's usually with like Jameson. I'll do like ginger ale. But I'm not a big mixer, and I'm not trying to sound snobby or anything. I just like whiskey the way it is.
Yeah, same.
So,
but if you want to make a whiskey cocktail, make a cocktail instead of using Coke. Make you an old fashioned, man.
Yeah, sure. I mean, something. If you like whiskey and Coke, find a cocktail that's going to be a little sweeter. Like an old fashioned will be, but there's a bunch of whiskey cocktails out there that's going to be on the sweeter side.
Taylor Calandro, Wine and Spirits Director over at Calandro's. Hey, man, happy Thanksgiving. Thanks as always. We'll talk to you next week.
Same to you, Matt. Enjoy it.
All right, man. Be well. We're brought to you by Parish Restoration, parishrestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor, Parish Restoration. They're the best. Parishrestoration.com. They'll come spray their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. You need a better form of remediation that's going to be more effective, more cost-effective, safer. Remember, non-toxic, safe for your family, for your pets, for your plants. They'll come in, they'll spray, they'll close up all the windows and doors, they'll let the fog dwell, it'll kill everything down to the spores. As soon as it dissipates, you're back in, free, clear, clean smelling, Parish Restoration. Go to the website, parishrestoration.com. Just fill out the form on the homepage, parishrestoration.com. All right, we do have an update from Saints practice. Jermon Bushrod in 20 minutes and more on the coaching carousel. Lincoln Riley speaks out.
AFR.
Lincoln Riley speaks out. Okay, we're heading into the holidays. I want to remind you about Arco Power Systems, arco.com, arco.com. This is for you business owners. If you're a business owner, you have a commercial or industrial facility, what happens, think of it this way, when the power goes out? I'm not just talking about for storms. Hurricanes, name storms. Think about last year in January when the snow came. We had snow days and the power goes out. Or when the ice storm came a few years ago. Or just because it's Louisiana and sometimes there's a stiff breeze and power goes out. What happens to your business when you lose power? For so many businesses, that's not an option. Being offline is not an option. Arco Power Systems has been here for 40 years for you. Arco.com, arco.com, arco.com. ARCCO, arco.com. This is Generac Industrial Energy, arco.com.